piece of design that you're going to be doing is about building the skills on composition and producing an actual piece of design work. I've showed you some examples of work by Banjes, who is a contemporary designer illustrator who does poster design, often using sans serif typefaces. So this is the sort of thing that we're building towards. We're going to use the photographs that you've taken last week and developing the next element that you'll need for this. The first podcast I did created the monogram. If I just close this, this is an example that I did earlier. So it's got the element of the monogram, and it's the kind of poster that you could do with sans serif typefaces and these various elements of design created from photographs that you've already taken and uploaded. So first thing that you're going to do on Photoshop is going to be to create File and New and create a page to create your background on. So for this one it's going to be 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, 300 resolution, and we'll say OK to that. You're going to bring this photograph into the picture, or a photograph, and the first thing that you might need to do on this photograph is crop it. So we're going to get the crop tool from the side here and crop that down so that I've left a little bit of the outside of this because I want that to become part of our design, but cropped it fairly tightly, and press enter to apply that. So there's our photograph that we're going to be working with initially. Go to movement tool and slide your photograph onto the page here. I'm going to want 4 versions of this initially, so using a similar system to how you worked with the lettering on the monogram. You're going to use your quick keys again, a Command T to reduce this down, press the shift bar if you want to not make it distort at all, and press enter to place that. So this is the first one. We're again going to use the Alt key and drag a second copy, and I want that turned around, so I'm going to use Command T and spin that around so I've got the second part of the design. I'm then going to use Alt again and produce the bottom part there, and Alt again and produce this part here. Okay, and that one again I want to spin and turn around so that I've got 4 pieces which are creating the sort of central part of my design. I've used the Alt key because I know that the 4 pieces are now the same size. As with some earlier work that you did, you're then going to merge these by clicking on the top layer, using your shift bar, click on the next layer. We don't want to include the background because we want to keep that separate, and go to layer, merge layers, and you'll be getting the idea. Okay, so you've got your 4 pieces loose from the background but attached together. Command T again to make those smaller. Use shift to keep it proportional so we get a nice round shape still happening on that circle. And you're going to then use your Alt, drag that out to there, and one down to there, and one across to there. So again, we've got the 4 happening on each side of there. Command T again. Oh no, before we do that Command T, I'll just place that and go to your first tone, go to your second one, and again merge the layers. Go to the bottom arrow, merge there. So you've got your layers merge, and you're starting to develop with Command T again to reduce a group of pieces which are making more of a definite pattern. Okay, so you've got a circuit happening there. To use this, we could keep multiplying it up. I think what I'm going to do is just save that as it is in case I want that pattern version. So I'll go to File, Save As. On here I'm going to put it onto the desktop, and we call it fan. How many have we got? 16. It's a Photoshop file to keep the layers, and I want to save it at the moment onto desktop. Anything that you're saving onto desktop, obviously you will then drag into your Apple cart. So I've saved that as a desktop version. I'm going to then reduce it again, so Command T, take it down to that size, and duplicate the form again. And you get the idea, you're starting to get sort of different patterns here. What we could do, actually, I'm thinking about as we work on this, is do an Alt and maybe just try to see what happens if I swing that around and have a different type of pattern happening. So put that one there. Arrow just to line that up. Have the next one out. So we can do this and enter that, and then go back to my first horizontal and use Alt again, drag that one off there. Okay, so we're going to have a straight away different type of pattern, and just place that one. We'll merge that again. So at this stage you can really play around the pattern and create the design that you need, as long as you've got something quite intricate in terms of the number of photographs. So back down to there, merge that one, just so I've got a record of my different stages. I'm going to save that as well. So save as, and fan 16, I'll call it turned. Now at this stage I'm saving these as Photoshop files. I don't think I'm going to want to change that so much. I'm going to save this as a JPEG at this stage. Okay. That doesn't mean that the one that you're actually working on is flattened down, but it does mean that when you come back to it at another lesson, because it's a JPEG, that will have a merged layer between this pattern part and the background here. So do a Command T again, take that down, and again we've got quite an interesting pattern happening now. So by using this Alt key, you can quite quickly build up something which is intricate and which is going to create a pattern for you. We can do something with that inner circle later if we want to, or we can leave it how it is. So again, I'm going to merge those layers. I don't particularly want them separate for what we're doing with the banjes piece. So again, click on the top layer, press the shift, click on the bottom layer to select the layers, and then you're going to merge the layers again on that bottom arrow. Okay, so I've got my pattern here that I've created. I might want to change the colours on it, so I'm just going to do that. I think I will save it in that version again. So save as, it's a good idea to save these various different copies, and I'll save it as a JPEG again. And I've called this fan pattern B and W for black and white. So I try to label things so that I'm going to know what they are if I can't actually see them as on the JPEG version. Now I'd like to do something a bit more interesting with colour on here. So I've got my, on my layer with the pattern on it, and I can go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation initially, and up the saturation slightly, and then I should get a bit more colour happening. Now you can see some kind of subtle changes to the colour. If I increase my saturation more, I'm going to get more changes into the colour. So I've got something a little bit kind of orangey yellow. The more I increase the saturation, the more dramatic on here is going to be that colour change. So I'm thinking at the moment that my overall design will have elements of blue in it. So I quite like that sort of turquoisey blue, that feels quite modern. So I'm going to say OK to that, and I'm going to save that. So File and Save As. Again, it can be a JPEG because I'm not going to take anything very complicated out of it. Save, OK.